What's up, everybody? This is your girl, Marie
and Crystal,
aka Millen Twins. So if you was on the same note, y'all see, this is an off Friday.
It's okay, it is, because that traffic was that bad. But you know what? It's about to be amazing, because if you don't see this beautiful woman, an amazing woman in front of you, you tell the people who you are.
No, just say your name, because we'll say it wrong.
ListinerInspires.
ListinerInspires.
Woo! We did it! ListinerInspires. Let me tell you, when we was on our whole little rant, I was like, ListinerInspires, in my head. So we have ListinerInspires in the building. How are you feeling?
I'm nervous.
You're nervous? We about to break that nervousness right now.
Okay, let's do it.
So we play this game. It's called 2020. And it's just 20 fun random questions that we're going to ask you. It's just to break the ice, show you how much fun we're going to have, and everything's just going to be organic. And if you don't answer the questions within 5 seconds, you're going to hear this sound. But no pressure.
No pressure.
Okay,
no pressure.
Okay. We didn't have people come and they only answered 2 questions, and it's okay.
It's okay. You got it. You ready?
I got it.
All right, let's go. What do you find yourself doing a lot these days?
Eating.
If you could live in any sitcom, which would it be?
I don't watch sitcoms.
Okay, we gonna pass. Let's go. What's the one thing you could never live without?
Food.
What was in your high school locker?
Lots of books. I was a nerd.
It's okay. We know too.
I know.
How would you describe yourself in 3 words?
I am awesome.
Yes. Right. If you had your own talk show, who would your first 3 guests be?
Well, you guys, because you guys are here. Like,
the Millen Twins.
Oprah.
Yes.
And Michelle Obama.
Yes.
Who do you look up to the most?
Currently, I would say my godmom.
Okay. What is the scariest thing you have ever done for fun?
For fun?
Mm-hmm.
Like scary and fun?
Mm-hmm. Like zipline. Like I did zipline and I freaked out.
No, I don't do scary and fun.
Okay, we gonna skip that then. Okay, phone call or text?
Text.
Eyebrows or eyelashes?
Eyebrows.
Rich friend or loyal friend?
Loyal.
What is your favorite movie?
I don't have a favorite movie. Is that bad?
No, it's not. I'm gonna have to. All About the Benjamins. Have you ever seen it?
I have, but I don't remember it.
It's fun. Okay. We got to get you it. We got to go.
I watched the movie, so I don't remember. So I watched it. Okay, that's good. Boom, next.
Oh, okay. Okay. You know, the movie girl. See, I'm a movie girl. Okay. Money or free time?
Money will give me free time.
Yeah, you're right. You broke that down.
Order me a nanny, a chef. I create my free time.
Yeah, Chris make this all about herself.
We connected right here.
It's
We
okay.
connected. She good.
Okay, so what is in your trunk right now?
I don't have a trunk.
Okay.
I'm about to say a bed. The way this Chicago.
Well, what was in my trunk was a chair leg and a crate of stuff.
What's your favorite song to blast in the car?
Rebel by Lecrae.
Okay. What is the best gift anyone has ever given you?
Money.
Yeah, I'll take that too.
Money.
Most important in a partner, intelligent or funny?
Funny. You gotta make me laugh.
What childish things do you still do as an adult?
Oh,
this must be a good question. Listen up, y'all. Listen up.
So, like, I go out with friends and they order their food, and when they not looking, I eat out their food.
I do too, girl. That's what I'm talking
But I
about.
act like I ain't do it. Like,
sit me at the table across them, please. Thank you. Okay, last question. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Can you make any prediction about anything exactly 1 year from now?
That I will be a multi-millionaire.
Come on, I'll be right there with you, girl.
Right next
Support
to
you. Let's go. Let's go.
So you did good.
You did.
You feeling good now?
I'm feeling better.
Okay, we got
everything.
Okay, good. So we have, if you're not watching this, right? Well, if you're watching this, but you can snatch it. It's okay.
That's
we
okay.
do
My
that all
sister
the
do it all
time
the
too.
time. Not we, you.
Okay, it's okay.
I'm just gonna stop moving my arms. I'm gonna stand just like this.
So if you're watching this, you guys make sure you share this video. If you haven't heard her story, this is the time for you to hear it. So we have 2 amazing books that you have written. Would you like to tell everyone who's watching and our listeners the titles of your books?
My first book that came out in 2017 is called RebelInspired, A Journey into Awesomeness. My second book that just got published last month.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
And it's called The Healing and Hope Journey, Happiness is You.
Wow. Healing, say it again.
The Healing and Hope Journal, Happiness is You.
Wow.
A lot of people need to hear that.
Definitely. So what inspired you to start writing?
So I've been writing since I learned how to write, like 3 or 4 years old. And writing for me at the time was a way to escape my world of abuse. So I grew up in a very abusive home, and so I would just journal and make up make-believe worlds to be in so I wouldn't have to live in the world I was in. And I just wrote. I wrote poems. I wrote mostly poems, but I would write to God too, like, dear God, like just, and it would help. I couldn't express to anybody what I was going through, so I poured it into a journal.
Wait, so were you afraid to?
Yes.
Express? Okay.
Do you feel that writing your stories has helped you to heal?
It has.
It has. How do you think it made you heal?
The very first book, RebelInspired, A Journey into Awesomeness, A Poetic Journey to Awesomeness, is actually a collection of poems that I've written over like the past 20 years. I kind of pulled a series of poems, and how I did it, one of my closest friends, he was asking me, like, he wanted to do a storyline of my journey to kind of use it as a podcast to talk about certain things to help other women heal. And so I had written down just a list of different things that I had gone through from birth through like in my 30s. And I realized that the poems that I had written over a series of years kind of told the story. So what I did was I pulled it, and as I was pulling them together, and I had a really close friend of mine who's an author read it, and she was like, this is amazing. And I said, I'm scared to publish this because now everybody would know what I went through and I have to talk about it. But I'm a believer. I'm a Christian. Like, whoop, whoop, Jesus.
Come on, all every day.
Yes.
Right?
And so I heard God say, in order for you to heal, you have to put it out there so others can heal. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do this, but I'm scared. And so I pieced it together. I created the storyline. I had my close friend kind of read it, and she was like, this is amazing. I self-published. I hit the button. I cried, drank some wine, and I was like, okay. And once it became live on Amazon, I was like, I can't take this back. The world's going to know everything. Mm-hmm. And so the first year of me publishing it, I went on a tour. I'm like, yeah, I published the book, boom. And then I didn't do anything else. I was like, okay, I published it, I'm done. But God was like, no, you are not done with that. You need to you really need to go into detail about what you went through so people can know the experience you had, that they see this person before you who's polished, but what did you have to go through to get there? And I was like, oh, so I got to really tell my story behind the poems. And that's where it came about, me just really going and speaking to people, doing workshops and talking about abuse and explaining that it's not your fault, but you have to forgive.
So your form of abuse, was it physical, mental?
It was physical, mental, sexual, emotional. Yeah, all forms of.
And from what ages?
From 2 up until about 30s.
Wow. So this is a long term.
Long term, yeah, and it wasn't by the same person. So because when you experience abuse when you're younger, as a child, somehow. I wouldn't say unconsciously, it's not a proven fact, but I believe that you kind of equate certain things to being okay. And so you find yourself getting in the same situations, whether it's in the form of friendships, relationships, and it may not be that physical you experience. It may be emotional, maybe mental, but it's like you're repeating the cycle until you break it, until you free yourself.
So when did you find yourself or figure out that you were being abused? Or actually, like realize.
So I knew that my living environment wasn't healthy. I just was scared and didn't know how to get out of it. I actually grew up in a group home from like age 13 to 18, and it was during that time I realized like you're supposed to be able to eat food and go in the refrigerator when you feel like it. You shouldn't have to be ridiculed because you're a child and you want a second plate of food or a first plate of food at that, you know. It's okay to be yourself and not be afraid that someone's gonna, you know, do something to you because you're not yourself. And so I knew it was abnormal, but I try to separate myself from the situation. Like, okay, this is the situation and this is not me. And I kind of, I guess you want to say, just like zone out of it to not deal with it. I think when I had my children, it became very, like, it became obvious that I needed counseling because I was afraid to touch them. I was like, I don't want to touch them because I don't know if I might turn out to be like my mother was. And so I was like, I didn't want to hug them. I didn't want to really touch them. But as a mom, you need to. So I found myself praying like, God, don't let me be my mother. Don't let me abuse her. Don't let me do the things that were done to me. Just keep me from being that way towards them. And so I was like, let me start getting counseling. So I was in counseling back and forth. I took various medications for suicide, homicidal thoughts. I mean, I was a mess, but God. And so thank God my children are healthy and happy. I never abused them. If anything, I overloved them. I'm like, if they went somewhere, did anybody touch you? How was the atmosphere? How they look at you? Like, I didn't let them go too many places because I was like nervous. I was like, if anybody tell you keep a secret, don't keep secrets. I was just like overprotective. They didn't go over sleepovers. Like, who was that? Who's their mom? Let's get some DNA tests. I don't know who they are. I don't trust them. And so it made me overprotective. It made me always provide above and beyond what I felt like they needed. So they had every activity they could want. They had whatever they wanted so that I could protect them from anything happening to them. But in the beginning, affection was hard for me because I never experienced that. So they didn't really get a lot of affection because I didn't know how to give that. It wasn't until later on I realized that affection is also important. I can protect you, quote unquote, and I can make sure your living environment is safe. But if I never hug you or I never spend time with you, then that you're missing an important part.
Definitely. And I think it's interesting that you stated you found yourself getting into the situation over and over, and people don't realize, people who have been abused, sometimes it becomes the norm to you. When you haven't seen anything else, you think this is what it is and this is how it's supposed to be. You said you seek counseling, and some people are afraid to seek counseling, not realizing that can be the start of the healing process. So how do you think the counseling has helped you personally?
Having a neutral person to talk it through. In the beginning, I did feel crazy because I was like, I'm just messed up. All this stuff has happened to me. I had a lot of suicidal thoughts. I had a lot of suicidal thoughts up until the age of 20 because I felt like maybe the world would be better without me because there's so many things are happening to me. So I struggled with going back and forth to counseling, being on medication because I did feel like there was something really wrong with me. But now in hindsight, I'm glad that I did because it gave me a neutral person to talk to who said like, that's not normal, that you went through that and it's not your fault. It took me to now, like in my late 30s, going to my 40s to believe it wasn't my fault. But now I can go back and say, oh yeah, that person said it wasn't my fault. Okay, cool.
So you said your mother was one of the abusers.
Yes.
So when you found out that you were getting ready to have a child, did have any thoughts ever crossed your mind? Did any thoughts cross your mind that you wanted to get rid of the baby, or because of the things that you went through as what your mother did to you? Did you feel like, you know what, I don't know if I want to bring this child in the world because I may just turn out to be just like her? Or what was your thought process when you got pregnant?
It's funny because I never thought about abortion. I just was scared to touch him. Like, he was like, my oldest son is 23 now. He was like this big ball of like buttery goodness. He was a butterball. But he cried a lot during the first 3 months because he had colic. And I was in a group homes and never heard the words I love you. So I was just like, what do I do with baby who's crying? I'm gonna leave you there and I'm gonna step back because I don't know what to do. And so there was times where I hated myself, to be honest with you, because I was like, I should really know how to love, but I don't know where to start. And so I would just cry. Like, I don't feel like I deserve him. And I just would cry. And so I a lot of times wouldn't really touch him unless to like change his life or feed him, because I was just like scared, like, you know, to do with him. Like, I don't know. But thank God he's healthy and happy. That is a blessing.
So have you ever tried in the years that you were going through to try to tell someone and they didn't believe you, or?
No, because I believe that what I got was what I deserved. I was told that I was evil and that, you know, I was just a bad child. And so I believed that. I was scared of my mother. So I believed what she said. So I didn't tell him. I mean, I had people who grew up with, who to this day now was like, why didn't you tell us? I'm like, tell y'all what? Like, I didn't know what to say. I was in a sense brainwashed, because I was like, okay, I'm evil and that. So this is what I deserve. So I'm not going to tell anybody.
Because it stuck with you.
Yeah.
Wow. So you writing this book, I'm sure, has touched so many lives. There are so many women, there are so many men, there are so many children who are going through something and don't even know how to escape or don't know how to articulate what they're going through. And for you to go through something so young, how in your mind, you know, it's an impressionable mind. So how do you even think like somebody's hurting me? You know, you don't think it because this is what you're going through.
Right.
Do you have a lot of women or men or individuals that come to you and say, I need help, or I'm going through the same thing, or I've gone through the same thing?
I've had people that have come to me and said, wow, like I'm surprised that you're so brave. And I tell them, like, it's a process. I'm not brave. It literally took me till last year to out of my mouth say that my mother did what she did. It was like, I felt like a sense of, and she's passed away, but I felt a sense of loyalty. Like, I say that I'm gonna, like, she's my mother. She has that title. So when people come to me and they say, wow, like, so this one just got released, so I haven't gotten any feedback from the healing book. For the poem book, I've had people say that they've read it over and over again because it speaks to them and they can relate to it. And so for me, that's a blessing, because I was being obedient to God and putting myself out there, not to like put my business out there, but to let people know, like, there is another side to the abuse. There's the healing side, and it is a journey. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, and you have to allow yourself to go through that process. Some parts of it might not feel good. Some parts of it might make you want to just go back to things that you've done to make yourself, like, self-medicating or doing certain things to make yourself feel better, to give yourself from slipping up and then move forward, because still it's a journey, it's continuous.
It takes time.
Yes.
And I like the fact that you did say, I know you all touched on it, that you did seek help. And that's not seeking help from your cousin or your brother or your sister, because they can be biased.
Yeah.
You know, and then that's at the same time, you don't know who you can trust. They could run around and tell your business and flip everything around. So I feel like it's good to just seek somebody who knows nothing about you.
Yes.
And they can just sit there and, like, you know, and listen, and they'll actually give you a true, just a true statement of how they really feel, or how they feel that you know, you can get through it and this and that. Because you'll know somebody like, yeah, if you just do that, just don't talk to nobody. Just don't say nothing. You'll be all right. You'll get over it. And then you'll sit there stuck in the darkness and just like, okay, it's not getting better. So it's good to actually go out there and talk to someone that you may not know.
Yeah.
A wellness center or something.
Yeah. And they'll give you the tools you need to cope with it. They'll teach you how to walk through it. And it might not be perfect, but it'll give you a platform where to start.
Yeah.
How has your support system been since embarking in a new journey of writing books and sharing your story?
They're amazing, because like I'm a very emotional person. Like, I wore makeup today, so I'm like, I'm not gonna cry.
It's okay. We got tissue. We got tissue up there, right? Okay.
But they've been amazing, because I, like, sometimes I have moments where I freak out, like, is this happening? Oh my God. And I'm like, I have a best friend. I love her. Like, I'll send her like 5-page texts. And then she'll just call me and be like, I'm
not texting you back.
Yeah, pretty much. She's like, I'm not texting you back. I'm like, and she's like, just calm down. You were made for this. But and then I'm back down. So I have 3 key people in my life who really, I reach out to them when I'm having those moments. And they be like, you got this, you're made for this, you're good. Like, what are you worried about? I'm like, and I'm an overthinker, so I'll run off a list of things that could possibly go wrong. They'll be like, but you serve God. I'm like, what do you do? But so, you know,
right, it comes back. But I'm just trying to tell you.
Right. And so they have been instrumental in just like saying, you got this, even when I'm scared, even when I'm calling them, crying, like, oh my God, this is so horrible. And they're like, okay, just cry. Or I want to cry, but I don't. Just cry. So I love my support system. And it's 3 key people, and they know who they are, and I love them dearly because they have gotten me through every every major step that I wanted to take, because I'm really a very like reserved and behind the scenes person, and God's been pushing me out. And I'm like, no, I'm good back here, like right here. But it's because I need to tell my story and tell this journey and help other people to start their own journey that I do it. And so my support system are there for me when I freak out. They're there for me when I'm happy. They're there for me when they tell me something positive. I'll be like, I really don't want to hear that, but okay. And so I appreciate them.
Definitely. And when we have domestic violence survivors, we had our first one, I think, in 2015. It was called Create a Closet, and we were collecting clothes for homes that house domestic survivors. And when I tell you, we had 250 people that came, and so many came. I was like, I went through this. It's like, what? It's like you never know who's going through this. And they were crying like, this helped me. I went through this 10 years ago, but then today was the day that the first time they even opened their mouths and said it. So we never know who we're helping with our story, no matter how ashamed we may feel or how we feel that it was probably our fault. You're not alone. And we want you guys to know that there is help out there. And for you sharing your story and other women and other men who are sharing their stories, you can help someone who's going through it exactly right now, at this minute, at this second, and they don't know where to go, what to do, what to say. But just hearing your story, it can free them. And a lot of people, they are afraid of what people will say. Or, they're just lying or losing friends. And it's like, as Christians, because we believe in God as well, we do believe that we go through a season for a reason. And we don't realize that sometimes, because we're human, yeah, we believe in God, but we're going to have our days like, why, God? Are you still here, God? Did you leave me? Did you forsake me? But we know he didn't. But as humans, we feel that way sometimes. And we have to realize what you're going through is not for you sometimes. It's for someone else. So if you're watching this, make sure you guys share this video because this story is amazing. How has this changed your life?
I am freer. Like, I don't care what anyone says.
I know that's right. Say that again.
Like, I don't care what anybody's saying. I have my moments where I doubt myself, but I'm my hardest critic, to be honest. But at this point, I'm like, I've already told the hardest truth of my life. That, like, once you tell your own truth, then no one else can tell that narrative for you. So it's like I'm allowing God to create these pathways, and I'm being authentic. I'm showing up as I am. I'm not trying to be someone else, and I'm honest and transparent. And for me, it's like I'm loving the freedom, and then my sons are watching. They're telling me, like, we're proud of you, Mom, for wanting to build this up now. Even my 14, he's like, Mom, exactly what do you do again? And I'm like, oh, okay, let me explain to you. But he's listening, and I know he's watching. And so for me, being able to be free of the pain and the past that I've gone through and to break through and not be ashamed has been a blessing to me as well as to others, because I can show up as who I was created to be. I can be bold in the confidence that God has given me and say, this is who I am. Either you love it or you don't, but I'm still be me. So just move around so I can keep going while I move around you.
So now that your children know, they know your story, are they overprotective of you? No?
No. Well, my oldest son, he's married and he's out in the Navy. I want to say my youngest son probably see someone is left at home now because my other son is away as well. They're grown. So if I don't get him on a certain time, he might call me, Mom, where are you? Like, working, like to pay the bills.
Right, exactly.
Or he'll tell me, like, Mom, you look tired. You just sit down and watch TV with me.
He just want that mommy's son.
And so I appreciate that. But as far as like being protective, I've always been like this tough, I got this. So, and I still keep that. And so they're not protective. They if anything, they're proud of me for just being able to be resilient and transparent.
So I have a question. There's someone who's listening, who's watching right now, and who's going through it. What would you say to that person right now?
That you are not alone. It is not your fault, and that you can seek help. And that your healing starts when you first forgive yourself. Because we blame ourselves a lot of times and it's not our fault. And you forgive that person, even if they done the most worst thing. That forgiveness is not for them, it's for you, so you can free yourself to start that journey of healing and allow yourself to go through that process. It is a process, it will take time, but you will get through it.
So do you think forgiving yourself and forgiving your abusers is a part of healing?
It is.
So many people are like, I forget it. I ain't gonna forget it. I'm gonna forget. Like, but that's a part of your healing. So a lot of people don't even understand that.
Let me tell you a very small story. First one. So right before my biological mom passed away, she was in a nursing home. And I remember I was sitting at home and I was like, you can go see her. I was like, why? Like, I don't know. But I was obedient. And I remember it was snowing that night. And I used to be scared to drive in the snow. So I was like, okay, Lord, I'm driving in the snow. And I went to her room. By this time, she had dementia and she was up in age. Believe it or not, I was still scared of her up to that point, too. And I just looked at her and I realized she looked so helpless. And I knew why I was there was to forgive her. And I was just like, and I guess at some point I realized that she would never say I'm sorry because I was waiting for that. Like I wanted that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that to you, but I never got it. And so I looked at her and in that moment I realized like you only did what was done to you. And so I was just like, I told her, I said, I forgive you for doing those things to me. And I hope you forgive me for not being the daughter you need me to be. And I gave her a kiss on the forehead and I left. And that like early that next morning, my older sister called me like, Mom, our mother passed away. And I already knew. I knew it's what God needed me to do because had she passed away and I didn't do that, still waiting for that, I'm sorry, I would be here, but not the way I am now. It wouldn't be authentic. I wouldn't be able to really say I have forgiven and talk about the healing from a place of obedience to God, knowing that I didn't want to do it, but I knew that it needed to be done. And that set the path for me to be here where I'm at now. Because that was maybe, I want to say 7 or 8 years ago. Yeah.
So that's why we have to pray against generational curses, because you never know what your mom been through, your father been through, and they're doing it to you, and you don't understand. Like, okay, what's going on? So it's we really have to pray against that, because I don't want my son to go through whatever I may have gone through, and it'll just keep going. It'll be a whole cycle. So we really have to like stand in faith and just know just to pray against it.
Yes.
You made a great point when you said that, she did what she did to you because she probably had gone through it. And a lot of people, that's where it comes where it's not your fault. Even though we might believe it because you're being told or you're being brainwashed, you're a bad kid and this, and all that, but you have to realize, but then too, at a young age, it's hard to understand it and to comprehend it. But as you get older, then it's been so long that it takes a healing process for you to even understand it. So is there ever a time when you have flashbacks? And if so, how do you deal with it?
Not really flashbacks. I mean, it used to be a time where people touching me would burn me. Like I could feel like the burning sensation on my skin. Hugs was like off limits. Like me hugging people, like generally embracing people, is because I've gone through healing. Because I didn't like to hug. I didn't want to be touched. I don't really have flashback. I might have a moment where like I will cry like, wow, like that really happened to me. But it's far and few between. There was a time where I was angry with God and I was like, you knew who this lady was, right? Like you had me born through her because you know everything, so why? But I came to realization, like you said, like everything happens for a reason in the season, and sometimes your pain and suffering is not for you, it's for someone else, for you to go through to be able to tell that story. And I think I don't have a lot of memories of a lot of the stuff. Like I just know that it happened. Like I know certain things like being burned or not being fed or just certain things I just know happen. And I thank God that I don't have flashbacks because I don't really want to remember that. Like I don't want to remember it. So I thank God for that.
So do you still seek counseling?
I don't seek counseling anymore. Because I'm at a place where I'm really good, but I know if I need to, I have no problem with doing it. I'm not ashamed. Like, I need to go to counseling. I'm feeling a certain way because I need to get that stuff up and out. I don't want it to fester. I have too much work to do for God to let that like stop me.
Wow. And I know because you said your mom went through it too. So I know back in the day, they probably didn't have anyone go to them and say you can get help or you can speak to somebody. Like this day and age now, we have so many people we can go to and talk to. So I think, don't be afraid and just reach out to somebody, you know what, even though you don't want to go to that wellness center, that because I just need help. If you could just tell that one cousin that that would trust, that you can trust, and they can go and reach out to somebody for you, but we have to be able to reach out to somebody because so many people are dying. They're killing themselves just because of what they're going through and they're afraid and they're, ashamed and embarrassed. So, try to reach out to somebody.
And just like we said, don't worry about what other people say.
Do not.
You can't worry about what people say or think about your situation because your story is your story. Their story is their story. And we thank God that you survived everything that you've gone through so that you can tell your story, that you can share your story. So how can people find your books?
So tomorrow I have a healing conference.
All right.
It's the first of many. It's my first inaugural series of healing conferences. So tomorrow at APS Books and More at 2653 South Lawndale Avenue, I will have my first healing conference. It's from 12 to 3. Tickets will be sold at the door. You can get both books there. I will have a slew of guest speakers, and that's where you can find me if you want to see me face to face. I'm on Instagram at ListinerInspires. I'm on Twitter as ListinerInspires, LinkedIn as Listiner Martinez, Facebook as ListinerInspires. Did I get all the
Facebook, Instagram,
You have a website?
website? ListinerInspires.com.
So if someone wants to book you for a speaking engagement, how can they reach you?
RockYourRebel@gmail.com.
Rock your rebel.
Spell it out, because sometimes they can't spell.
We got some people.
They might spell it different.
RockYourRebel@gmail.com.
One more time.
RockYourRebel@gmail.com. That was a rap.
It was. You might have freestyle in your spirit.
I was about to join in A, B, C.
You can't freestyle.
Can't freestyle. No.
We try.
So, what would you tell your 15-year-old self?
You are amazing. You are beautiful. You can do anything you put your mind to, and that you will be successful no matter what anyone else tells you, and you are loved.
And if you could leave anything, one or two nuggets for our listeners, what would you say to them?
Don't be afraid to be yourself. That's so important. So many people are walking around afraid of their uniqueness. They think they're weird. I don't think you're weird. I think you're unique. And I think God created us that way because we all look the same and we all act the same. Then that'll be weird. So don't be afraid to be yourself. Embrace your uniqueness and don't allow people to tell you what you should or shouldn't do if it's not harmful. Now, if you're out here doing harmful stuff, no. But don't be afraid to be yourself. Embrace your uniqueness and rock your rebel.
And stop looking at the lives on social media.
Yeah.
All of it is not real.
It's
to be
not.
honest.
No.
It's not real. Find your own identity. And I think that's one main thing that we face, issue that we face this day and age. Everybody look at social media and be like, ooh, I want to be just like her. Why? Because she get 2,000 likes. So let me do this. So let me do. No, find your own identity. We have to find our own identity. Because a lot of stuff on social media is not true. I'm going to put that out there now. I've known, we met people like, hey, wait, you said you have
totally
this.
different from
It's
your
totally different.
social media and in person.
You said you have $1 million, but God bless you though. So it's not, everything on there is not real. So like she said, be true to yourself, be you, and be who God created you to be. And that's what matters.
That's right. And don't be afraid to seek help. There are all types of abuse. We have emotional, mental, physical. There's financial. It's all kinds of abuse. And
verbal.
If you don't know if you're going through it, we have the internet, Google, you know what I'm saying? Or are they free to inbox you with questions?
You can. I am very transparent. Inbox me. No, like weird. Like
she's not looking for a date. Okay?
I am, but not like that though.
Well, she's looking for a
but
date
no,
too.
but not like. Never. But yes,
serious inquiries only. Okay.
But no, feel free to inbox me if you have questions. I am very open to sharing because I want people to be free. I want them to start their healing journey so they can be their true self and not walk around here in shame and in shackles.
Definitely. Have you come in contact with a lot of individuals who have been through the same things?
They don't outright say it, but by them saying like, man, that I can relate to that. You know, because sometimes people are when they say it, they feel like it's out there, and so I don't pull it out of them. I say, well, I understand what you're going through. That's why I wrote the book. You know, and others say, man, that really touched me. I can relate to that. I understand where you're coming from. Or they'll say, how did you get through it? And I always tell people God. I mean, because that's really how I got through it. I mean, even before I knew him, he knew me. So
come on. Well, tell the people one more time what you have going on tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. So our listeners, listen up now.
Listen. Y'all listen. Okay. Saturday, tomorrow, March 23rd, from 12 to 3 at APS Bookstore and More, 2653 South Lawndale Avenue in Chicago, Illinois. It's my first series of healing conferences. I'll have some amazing speakers. I'll have some food. I'll have my books. I'll also have a sign-up sheet if you want to seek counseling, or you want, not counseling, coaching from me, because I do offer accountability healing coaching. Or if you just want to mingle with some great individuals, come on through. We are selling tickets at the door, and I hope to see you guys there.
Say your social media again.
ListinerInspires across the board.
Yes,
guys, make sure you share this video. Make sure you share the information. We're going to tag all her information in the video. Make sure you guys order her books. Sometimes if you don't want to say or tell anybody anything, read the books. It can help you. It can heal you. We have to read more if we want to seek help. So we thank you so much for coming all the way. Well, we stayed in Chicago because we were in traffic. So usually we're in Dubai. But thank you so much for coming to share your story. We are proud of you. We thank God that you made it through your chapters in life so that you can share your story. You know that there's nothing but elevation for you. So we speak nothing but blessings and blessings on top of blessings and favor over your life.
And we have to have you come back again.
I will. I love y'all. I'm like, okay. I'm not nervous anymore. I'm like, okay. I'm dancing and rapping.
Make sure our guests are not nervous. We're going to break that. Okay? We're going to break the ice. But we want to thank you all for tuning in, to our listeners and to our Facebook Live. Thank you all for always showing up every Friday. But we'll be back next Friday, every Friday at 8 p.m. on the Millen Twins Highlights Movement Show. We appreciate you all so much. Keep on tuning in. Chris, you want to say something? Y'all know she ready. She be ready.
I do be ready. You know, I'm the twin that talk. I be trying to be quiet so Carice can have a turn.
Go ahead.
But just have a great Friday. Make sure you guys share this video. Make sure you guys buy the books and have an amazing weekend.
Have an amazing weekend.
See you guys next week on the Millen Twins Highlights Movement Show on intellectualradio.com.
Good job.